up a lot of the issues that you have. Most important, let's talk about this. All right, so someone just asked a question about Nightveil Predator, and I actually really like this card in this archetype. This is a threat that's really difficult to remove for opposing control decks and like slowly kills them out of the game 3 points at a time. And the other part of this is an answer blue-black can play to the card Carnage Tyrant. It trades in combat with that because of Hexproof. This card's also very good in the Drake's matchup in my experience, just because like it gets to block nicely. Let's dive in and play some games here, shall we? What's my favorite Planeswalker? I don't know offhand. But isn't it horrible against Adanto and Chain Whirler? Sure. That's what makes the standard format great, though. The standard format is full of cards that are good in some situations and bad in others, so you can't just generically just play all the best things. A couple of people commented on Disinformation Campaign being a lot. When Disinformation Campaign is good, you always want to draw it. So I think playing a bunch of them is fine, because when it's not good, you can just board it out. Rough start. Rough start to the day. Angrath throws a hammer. Angrath's probably my favorite in this. Alright, so my opponent played turn 1 Memorial to War, so I'm gonna go ahead and assume they're playing the what's it called deck. Could someone please make a post for me on the Magic Arena subreddit, letting them know that the shuffler's broken? Because obviously that's the only way that would happen. Already did. God bless. I appreciate you. I appreciate the fans that have my back. Seems okay. I need another black source to get the Blood Operative going, but I get to surveil with Thought Erasure, so that's nice. How do you feel about Quick Draft, Best of 1 Limited, and games of Paper Magic? I think anything that gets more people to play more Magic is good for Magic. I think people who are freaking out about Best of 1 need to, like, step back and have a little bit of perspective. I think I take Compass here. It guarantees their land drops most directly. I'm gonna bin this, trying to dig for a black source. Hey, Clipsy, thank you for the 3/4 of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I'm done with land destruction, but it wasn't done with me, right? This matchup's probably bad for us. The fact that I don't have Nightveil, not Nightveil, the Thief of Sanity in my board probably means I'm gonna have a hard time here. That was a fantastic draw. Yeah, bonus red-white land destruction game. Would it be a good thing if all of Magic became best of 120 rounds? No, it wouldn't. And this is what you need to understand. The reason why Magic is good and why it's such a great and popular game is because Magic is basically 20 different games. And nobody's saying all of Magic is becoming best of 1, just like nobody's saying all of Magic's becoming EDH, or all of Magic's becoming standard, or all of Magic's becoming modern. And everybody just needs to take a major chill pill and stop jumping to ridiculous conclusions because they want to feel smart and predict the future. It's so absurd. The number of people who, like, I honestly, like, I lost a lot of respect for a lot of people who have been, like, selling into this basically BuzzFeed level terrify the people and doomsay what's coming up. Like, it's really obnoxious. Best of 1 basically means they introduced a new format to Magic. That's all they did. I think ranked on best of arena, I think ranked on arena should be best of 1 and best of 3. Why not both? Let people play Magic in the way they enjoy playing Magic. You think Discovery is better than the Sorcery Impulse? I don't know what Sorcery Impulse is. That person is toxic, is the only way I can describe them, Fatal Roundhouse. They're toxic for a variety of reasons. I would encourage you never to watch their content. In fact, normally I time people out when they mention it, because that person is just very not a great person to have in the Magic community. Alright, so I'm gonna go double Blood Operative this turn, I think. Not that this really matters. Maybe we can run them down here. The new expansion releases on January 17th. So 5 days, this Thursday. When does the new explosion release? Asking the real questions. No, I don't do set reviews. I should make a command for that so I can stop repeating it. That's true. When someone brings up those people, you can go, oh, these people aren't unreasonable. It's like a red flag, right? Just let you know. All right, onward, upward, backward, forward here. I always have mixed feelings when we queue into the land destruction deck, because I'm like, well, on one hand, this sucks to play against, but on the other hand, this is kind of my fault. It's my favorite card in the new set. Definitely the elf that counters a spell when it comes into play. We've created this monster, now we have to play against it. It seems like not amazing, but it's fine. Sure, Full Metal, but we've definitely had more viewer hours with it than he has. I never said in fact, I hate the idea of created decks. Like, it's idiotic to me that you want to claim ownership of an idea. If two people can invent calculus simultaneously, it's very probable that two people can find the same Magic deck simultaneously. I made this. That's a lot of swamps. Whenever somebody tries to desperately cling to ownership of a specific deck idea, I'm like, man, you're like desperate to be acknowledged. That's what it always feels like. And I don't know exactly what they're doing. There's already been a best of 1 Pro Tour. You have 2 minutes to cite a source before I time you out for misinformation. Mr. Polite, thank you very much for Twitch Prime. I appreciate that. Welcome. You could argue that Two-Headed Giant is best of 1 in the same way like Artifact's best of 1, though, right? Like, it's a game where you're playing multiple games at the same time, basically. The playoff for best player in the world was not best of 1. It was a format that used multiple best of 1 games, but by definition, multiple best of 1 games is not best of 1. You're playing multiple games. It's like whenever somebody brings up Hearthstone, like people talk about best of 1 and they bring up Hearthstone's Conquest format. Hearthstone's Conquest format is not best of 1 by definition. They're playing more than 1 game. Man, our opening hands have been rancid so far with this deck tonight. I'm gonna keep it, because magic. I am doing a late stream this evening. Usually I do at least one evening stream during the week. Well, that's fine. I didn't want that spell anyways. That spell is very overrated. And usually, like, that's why I would say, like, people would be like, oh, Jeff, you invented Kiki Chord, right? It's like, no, I popularized Kiki Chord. I tuned Kiki Chord. I helped optimize Kiki Chord. Those are things I did with Kiki Chord. Like, trying to claim that I invented, like, putting an already existing combo in a deck and, like, putting the only playable tutor with it is silly. Memorial here. It's gonna eventually turn into a creature, so might as well trade the land for it. I don't historically know how Gristlebrand's evolved over the years. Do not have a good metric for that. I assume that their hand is just like full of removal spells, so I am not playing this Doom Whisper into it. Let's do this. I always love how people are like, when I talk about how let's just not talk about claiming ownership of decks, and people always go into this, but these archetypes were clearly invented by these people. It's like, stop it. Stop nonsense. Alright, and because of my wonderful Immortal Son here, I'm actually still holding up Negate and Disdainful Stroke while casting this, which is great. Remember when I said their hand was just full of removal spells? Confirmed. I love, that's just like mono. Those are my favorite timeouts. When we talk about not doing a thing and we talk about why I think it's silly, and then it's just mono people just doing that thing. Yeah, Disinformation Campaign would be a pretty good pickup. I get to put their Siege Gang Commander into play next turn off by Eldest Reborn too. What's going on, -3 card? Oh, yeah. So for those not familiar with this interaction, when you surveil away Blood Operative, it triggers him, so you get to pull him back to your hand. For those of you that haven't seen that before. My 4/2 operatives here. I'm not exiling their Siege Gang Commander because I want to take that with my Eldest Reborn next turn. Alright, stay out of my hand. Might as well not give them the information here. Oh, they can memorial in response. That's a good catch. I didn't think about their memorial. Awkward. They thought about their memorial. Good line from the opponent here. Alright, let's try and Discovery into. Yeah, they take 8, I gain 8, so I think we're okay. Perfect. And like, they're about to make a bunch of goblins, so I'm gonna play out this Eldest Reborn just as a, just as like you discard, reanimate something later. I'm gonna go ahead and play the third Blood Operative because it punches through eventually. Like, technically attacking for lethal next turn, so they're gonna have to start jump blocking. These dooms, this game is pretty over. How are we doing, folks? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good night to everybody wherever you're out in the world. Thanks for dropping in here today. My name is Jeff Hoagland. I'm a full-time streamer and content producer here on Twitch. I'm here playing Magic 30, 40, 50 hours a week. If you find yourself enjoying my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. I wouldn't be here day in and day out without the support of my subs. They are quite literally the folks that keep me employed. Past subscribing, you can also support my stuff by checking out some of my very wonderful sponsors. Harry's Razors would love to help you get that close, clean shave using code Jeff Hoagland at bit.ly/SugarShave. You can save $5 on your orders there with them. Remember, just because you like playing the degenerate decks doesn't mean you need to look like it. HurlyBurlyStudio.com does professional Magic the Gathering altars. Using code Jeff10, you can save 10% on your orders of full border extension as well as full altars. You can find lots of high-quality images of her work at HurlyBurlyStudios.com. Cardsphere.com would love to help you turn your paper Magic cards into other paper Magic cards directly through the players. There's no haggling, and they just take 1% fee off of the top. They also very recently added a draft simulator to their website, so be sure to head on over there to check that out. And InkedGaming.com would love to help you customize your gaming experience using code Jeff12. You can save 12% on custom playmats, mouse pads, binders, and bags with them. You can upload your own custom artwork or choose from the wide range of custom artwork that they have on their website, such as my own Hoaglandia branded merchandise. We are, I think we're 1-1. I don't keep track of the records while we play decks. We're just trying to play sweet games of Magic here. We're heading on into another match with the blue-black control deck here, seeing how it feels. How excited are you for a white splash, for Mortify, and maybe other enchantments? Potentially could be good. I think some form of Esper control is going to be great. Who's my food sponsor again? Neo does wonderful candy-flavored protein bars. Actually have an open bar here. bit.ly/HugoBar for that one. No one plays the Drake decks anymore. I think people are just bored. Variety's the spice of life. I think there was a lot of Drakes early on, especially on Magic Arena, because it was a cheap deck to build in terms of the wild cards you needed. And like, as people have grown fuller corrections, they've branched out a little bit. Do I ever look at win rates after the fact? Nah. I'm not playing these games to like grind points, and like just looking at just the raw win rate of a deck doesn't actually tell you if a deck's good or bad or not. There's a lot of nuance that goes into evaluating a deck correctly. I saw your deck list tweet. Are you sure you don't want any Dream Eaters in this? That's an interesting question. Dream Eater's like a weird pseudo answer to problem permanence, right? It like picks up artifacts and enchantments. Big Wing Winkin, thank you for the brand new Prime support. Thanks for keeping me employed this month with that. Savitz, that's actual Savitz, by the way. If you're not following his stream, you should be. He does a ton of great Magic content himself. So, my hand's pretty well set up here, right? So I think I just Disinformation Campaign to get value on the discard while I can. And then we can Vraska's Contempt to exile the Adanto Vanguard, then Ritual of Soot to clean up the rest. This is actually my iteration of blue-black control, Weens. We've played a little bit of this before, and someone asked me to put my preferred iteration in. And I like Doom Whisperer better than Dream Eater on average because of the bigger stats, but there is some utility there. My configuration of this deck most notably doesn't play any copies of counter spells though, which makes the flash portion of Dream Eater a little bit less relevant than it otherwise would be in a deck that had, say, Sinister Sabotage in it. Pretty confident this turn I want to Contempt the Adanto. I could, so if I do Ritual of Soot this turn, this is going to protect this, but it does stop them from flipping Legion's Landing. I think that's relevant. I think preventing the Legion's Landing flip while they're stalled on lands is actually very good. So they're going to pay 4 here, which really isn't a big deal, but sooting to prevent the Legion landing from flipping does seem relevant. They keep the Squawk in the Vanguard. Yeah, I'm taking a hit next turn regardless, right? The potential upside to saving the Ritual of Soot is they could play out more creatures this turn that the Ritual of Soot could then clean up, which they didn't hit. So, pretty easy Contempt this turn. And then next turn, hopefully, we'll Discovery into a land and then replay Disinformation Campaign, grinding their hand down a little bit. That's true. Surveil 4 is really deep. Maybe we'll try a couple of Dream Eaters. We do have the flexibility to like, oh, that's fantastic. So I get to Thought Erasure, take a card, pick Campaign up, take another card. Which feels real good. I would love to keep a Doomblade there. What do you think about Azcanta in this archetype? I think it's a little bit awkward. I think Azcanta is worse card advantage than Campaign and Eldest Reborn on average, especially because all of our win conditions are creatures. Land here is actually a pretty good draw, because it lets me play Predator plus cast down this Beneficial Marshal. Be really resource efficient. So we've survived their initial onslaught, so we should be pretty close to locking this game up at this point. And maybe I'm gonna add a pair of Dream Eaters after this and give it a try. See how it feels. This is my 6/6 Thunk. I love how this card has Trample. Also, Dream Eater has quite possibly the best animation that you can have in Arena, which is definitely upside. Yeah, maybe we'll try trimming like Disinformation Campaign and like one of these for two of them. I don't think my health is high enough to pay life, so I'm just gonna leave that on top and draw it. I love that the Dream Eater animation, like, pops out to the side, though. I have heard the Mnemonic Betrayal one is good, although I haven't seen that one personally. Oh, I did know that they had this, right? Yeah, with Campaign especially, right? Because it, like, if they're out of cards in their hand, like the Surveil picks your Campaign up and then Campaign takes it out of their hand. Oh, that was the second one, wasn't it? Yeah, you're super right. Sorry, talking and playing. I do think that one of this archetype, so one of the things we talk about on stream a lot is when you make changes to a deck, you want to be working towards solving problems that the deck has. And I do think that Dream Eater potentially offers a solution to a problem that this archetype has, which is problem permanence that it can bounce. That's actually really good on this board. I'm going to use this just to Surveil plus pick Campaign back up. That's fine and can stay there. I think it's better than a random. So this has First Strike and a Hexproof from black, not Protection from black. So if I double block here, I actually get to kill this, because the First Strike only kills this, and then the 3/1 will finish this off. Which seems like a good trade for me, especially since I have the Predator here and this in play. Like this is gonna pop up, I'll get my thing back. Predator looking pretty reasonable here. If they want to trade, this is fine. It's like a removal spell that gains 3, basically. Mana Symbol, that's a great name. Thanks for the tier 1 sub, I appreciate that, welcome. Thanks for supporting my content here. Yeah, that game's pretty done. Infection, a couple more Cravings, a Golden Demise. I think the actual last Nightveil Predator is probably pretty good here too. It's a matchup where the Disinformation Campaigns come out, the Eldest Reborns come out. Leave one of these in. This seems fine. Like, I don't mind drawing one campaign in a game, but I almost certainly never want to draw two. This seems pretty reasonable. Actually, I don't hate Negate in this matchup. I don't like Duress because their hand gets empty, but Negate being able to counter both Heroic Reinforcements and History of Benalia is like a big deal. I think I might actually, like, looking at the sideboard, I might split the strokes with the Negates 2/2. Negate's pretty reasonable. Let the cursing begin. I think mine are probably in bed. Usually they go down about 8 o'clock. I think it's fine. It's got Craving. This Thought Erasure might tag something before it becomes a useless card. Erasure on 2 is pretty good, because it can take History of Benalia before they get a chance to play it. Blood Operative's, like, not amazing in this matchup, but it's still pretty fine. When just, like, trades in game 3, you're, like, pretty okay with that outcome. We need to draw some lands with this hand, and Thought Erasure is going to let us surveil into them, most likely. I love your Twitter. I mostly watch on YouTube, but man, your Twitter is fire. Thanks, X. XXO. Those are some pretty terrifying cards. I think I just need to take Frenzy, because it's kind of unbeatable. Man, this Infection is good, but I really need some lands. I think Bant Fog's probably a better version of that style of deck. Alright, they missed the land here. That's really good for us. They hit a creature, though. Alright, so the fact that they're bricking on land, I think means I need to kill this with Moment of Craving. Wait, what? Did I not understand where I was at with priority? We were already there. Okay, so yeah, there's no, yeah, all right, we just got, yeah, I misunderstood where we were at in the priority. There's not a stop during the main phase by default. That's probably gonna lose us the game, honestly. We were already at the beginning of combat, and clicking OK there moved us to declare attackers. Yeah, we're very dead. A mistake of understanding on my part. To be fair, we were probably pretty dead there regardless, but definitely dead with that mistake. No, it's actually the inverse. The reason you get got by Warboss is because that stop doesn't exist. Alright, what do you got over there? That hand is really good. I think I take a Ajani. I guess I have Contempt to deal with that. The problem is, like, if I kill the Adanto, Ajani just picks it back up. I think it's Ajani. think the Blood Operatives are pretty reasonable. I definitely don't think Disdainful Stroke is great. I definitely wouldn't mind more negates, and I think I should probably adjust my sideboard to have more negates in it. I think I'm probably gonna go up to 3 negates, and if I have 3, I would bring them all in here for sure. Well, the problem is the Ajani's not going to give me a... So, like, the history's going to 2-for-1 me, right? The history's going to make 2 2/2s, but the Ajani's going to 2-for-1 me, too. The Ajani's going to take my Vraska's Contempt, and it's going to bring back an Adanto Vanguard. So, like, I'm getting 2-for-1 no matter how I slice it, and this at least guarantees the 2-for-1 is just 2 2/2s. If that makes sense. Have a good one, Admiral. Thanks for the pile of sub gifts, by the way. I'm going to decline this. It's not particularly great on this board. The Knight of Grace. Knight of Grace is, like, very, very good against us. Card's been really tough for our 3/3s and our 3/1s without first strike to keep up with. Yes, Asim. Tier 3s can submit a build around, for sure. We're actually behind at this point, right? Like, they have history getting ready to pop off. They have, like, any of their good 4-drops just, like, run us into the ground. Nightveil just doesn't the Knight of Grace just doesn't care about Nightveil Predator. Woof. Need to draw Ritual of Soot this turn. 3 copies of that in my deck. 1 copy of Golden Demise as well. So, got 4 good ones here. Drew a land. Yep. Sounds about right. Usually they have a basic mountain in the sideboard, Polly. Usually they have a basic mountain in the sideboard. Alright, let's adjust this board. I think I definitely want some more copies of Negate. I definitely want some more copies of Negate. Let's try a couple of Dream Eaters. I actually think a couple of copies of Knight of Malice of my own are probably okay in that matchup, right? Golden Demise might be more flexible, though. Let's try a couple of these in case we run into that again. I kind of like that idea. And that people often ask why I play just the traditional queue instead of the events, and this is the big reason why. Really love having the flexibility to make changes in between the matches that we play. Kind of explore different ideas. I've never seen you put Duress in. Duress is there for the control matchups, opposing decks with counterspells. It's possible that I just want the full boat of Negate before I board in Duress, though. Could see that being a possibility for sure. Seems pretty good. Good swath of things to have. Looking for some lands. Ender 08028. Thank you very much for the brand new Prime support there. There's a lot of great people you can send that to on Twitch. Thanks for supporting mine this month with that. So I kept one of the lands and binned the other because I'm pretty likely to find another land on the back of this Disinformation Campaign, and I'd rather not flood out. That feels a little bit bad, though. Look at that. Likely to find a land. Brutal. This could honestly be the game. The fact that we just don't have a meaningful way to interact with that is gonna let it grind us out. You're my favorite Magic streamer. Is there a secret to becoming the smartest and the thinnest? None that I'm aware of. Be lucky, don't be unlucky. That's the secret to success in most of life. Hey, let's put this as a build around for Esper something. Mid-range control artifacts, whatever you think would be sweet. Sounds good. Thanks for the support, and thanks for the very generous tier 3 ASM. Get that added to the queue. Oh, that sounds depressing. You know, like, I'm honest with myself. I work really hard at what I do to be successful, but it's honestly more than just working hard to get to places in life. A lot of it are factors that are just outside of your control. There's a lot of right place, right time type situations. This game's over. You have to get lucky and work hard a lot of the time. I agree. You can't just have one without the other. If you're extremely lucky, you could probably not be good as well, but ideally you need to be both. I think I'm bringing in Immortal Sun not because I expect the other blue-black deck to have Planeswalkers, but just because I want to be able to draw 2 cards a turn. What's the saying? It's 10% luck, 15% skill, 30% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, 100% reason to remember the name. Do 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 do. Beep 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 beep. We now want Craving if we think they bring in Spectre. That's interesting. I have Nightveil Predators to block their things. Like, I have Eldest Reborn and Vraska's Contempt as well. The other great poet, that's true. Excellent poet. Woof. Thanks, I'll work on improving my luck. Fantastic. Why concede so early? So, one of the things that you gain more experience on as you play more Magic is, especially, well, that's a great draw, in these control matchups, is you get a feel for when the game is functionally over. One of the reasons why I think new Magic players tend to find control matchups so frustrating is because control matchups are games of Magic where you've lost the game long before your opponent reduces your life total to 0. Locking your children out, not you. I think I just double bin here, right? Just digging for a land at this point. Although, Duress, I played a land this turn already, right? Yeah, I'm gonna keep the Duress because the Duress will let me proactively clear to stick my Immortal Sun.
You need something?
Can I have some veggie pizza?
No, you're gonna get shredded cheese all over this floor.
I'll vacuum, I promise.
No.
She won't let me eat, chat.
He can't eat down here. You can't eat.
She won't let me eat. She's gonna make me starve.
You can't eat messy things.
Conceding early means you're salty. Exactly. Listen, I've read that Reddit thread. The only thing it could possibly mean is salt.
Can you wait?
Can I wait? I think I want to fight over this. Yeah, I'm gonna fight over this. Alright, so Sabotage is like incredibly annoying. The Disinformation Campaign is not great for us either. If I take the Sabotage and Discovery into a land, I can play Immortal Sun next turn, which is appealing. Disinformation Campaign of my own is also really good. Yeah, I guess the Immortal Sun's a lot worse in the face of their Dream Eaters, right? So keeping this makes a little bit of sense. I think Thief of Sanity is very good in exactly this matchup, and it's pretty mediocre in a lot of other places. So, I agree that against this matchup, I want Thief of Sanity, but in a lot of other matchups, it leaves a lot to be desired. Well, I get to draw 2 cards a turn at least. And they're missing land drops, so that's good for me. Evening Drewski. It's a 7/7. It's a pretty big boy. They do have Predator here, though. So, one of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of Thief is just, like, turns on a lot of your opponent's removal spell that would otherwise be pretty dead draws against you. Also, like, if you look at my sideboard, I already have a bunch of cards that I'm bringing in against a lot of control decks. So I'm a little bit oversaturated in that department, I think. Like, I'd have to give up Duresses or Negates, potentially. I don't know, in my experience playing, like, and it's been a hot second since we've played this deck, but earlier in the format, people just kept leaving sideboard or removal in post-board against us, which made the Thief of Sanities look really embarrassing. Well, Campaign plus Immortal Sun plus Doom Whisperer is a pretty good combo here. They chose to not...
Alright, listen. You have to eat it with a fork, and you have to put your head over the plate while you eat it, and chat's gonna yell at you if you don't.
Chat, when I slop this all over the floor, don't rat me out, okay? I'm basically trusting you not to rat me out.
They like me more, they'll rat you out.
Chat, we've all seen me eat before. There's no way this doesn't end up on the floor. I'm gonna need you to not rat me out, okay? Well, it's a good pickup. We will 100% rat. Wow, they chose not to sabotage the campaign. That's interesting. I already have my tweet ready. Was thinking about double shuffled opening hands, best of what increasing consistency being more advantageous for the one on the play. Does that make the play draw disparage even greater? I'm not sure. It's an interesting idea though. Quite possibly. Just rip the carpet up before I eat. I agree. Seems like a good system. Enter witty or mildly amusing anecdote about magic here. Thanks for the 4 months, Nicholas Bolas. I appreciate it. They're pretty far behind here. Take the next game on the play. Immortal Sun in our sideboard for the green-black matchup, but very good here. Just to draw in 2 cards to try to make everything slightly bigger. The snack is great, by the way. Christy calls it veggie pizza. It's like how you can eat vegetables, like make yourself feel good about eating something healthy, but it's actually just terrible for you. It's vegetables and cream cheese on top of a crescent roll. It's delicious is what it is. delicious, is what it is. Everything's better with cream cheese, and crescent rolls are inherently delicious on their own. Butter is wonderful. Cream cheese, right? Everything's better with butter and cheese. Can I answer your question for my modern comp? Sure, you can ask. You can ask. If I can answer, honestly, I will. Alright, so I assume they're gonna counter my counter here, and that's what we've been waiting on. A player who likes to try and run fair control decks in Modern, and I hit a wall over the last couple of weeks. I have a card together for Grixis Shadow, but I don't have many reps in it. Playing prepared, what's the play? I'd play Fairies. I think Fairies is fine. I think Grixis Death Shadow is also fine, but it's not so good that I would say you have to play this based on power level. I think if you're playing fair Magic in Modern, you should make sure you really enjoy the deck that you're playing. If you think you'll really like Shadow and you want practice with it, then go practice with it, but otherwise, I would just play what you like. I'm gonna bend down for a second, and it definitely isn't to pick a piece of cheese up off the floor. I have to scratch my foot. That is why I am bending over. Don't you dare narc, chat. Don't you dare narc. There's a bunch of narcs in chat, aren't there? They're gonna rat me out. They're gonna rat me out. This is terrible. Y'all are the worst, okay? Just the worst. I think we're dead. It feels like we're pretty dead. So I'm gonna let the Surveil resolve first here, and then I'm gonna Contempt it after the Surveil has resolved. So that way they resolve the Surveil, thinking their Dream Eater might live. The red-white land destruction deck is great. I'm waiting on this memorial to Folly until I have a creature that surveils to pick back up. So I'm interested in picking back up like a Doom Whisperer or a Dream Eater with it. So that way, even if the creature dies right away, it gives me some value with my Disinformation Campaign. Is basically what I'm waiting for. That was my goal at least. I think this might be my last one with blue-black control, and we're going to play another deck after this. I have pretty reasonable viewer numbers tonight, so I'm going to run a little bit later since I was off. How's the foot cheese? There's no more on the ground so far, I don't think, baby. I'm going to go with there's not any more on the ground. I'm going to bin this and keep the land, obviously. My feet are fine. Yeah, the best part about the new house is that on nights like this where I'm streaming in the evening, at the old house, we didn't have an extra bedroom I could stream from. So, like, I basically took up and, like, made the entire bottom floor a no-fly zone for the kids. Whereas here, we have a bedroom, extra bedroom with a lock on the door. So, like, the kids can still be using the rest of the house, which is nice for them. Makes it easier for Christine, for sure.
This is nothing.
This attack is incredibly greedy and bad. Does you like to get cast this down and kill their Vivian now? It was funny. Christy and I were sitting there last night, and I think when we first moved to Bloomington together, we had this really tiny, like, it was practically a studio apartment, and I think the master closet, bathroom, and bedroom upstairs here are like almost the same size of the first apartment we had together. That apartment was so tiny. Second Vivian's a reason to just be a little aggressive.
A balance comes.
Huh. Let's do this and see what happens. They might double block. Perfect. A lot of these turns have broken very well for us. Otherwise, we'd be pretty far behind. I feel like if our opponent just made slightly different decisions, they'd be in a better spot. We've been able to punish them at basically every opportunity for choices that they've made. Renting out rooms? No. Renting out rooms with kids, especially when I work from home, is a pain. Okay. That one doesn't kill Eldest or Doom Whisperer. and Eldest gonna take a card out of their hand next turn. I honestly, I might just campaign here. I guess there's some upside to just, I'm just gonna play the Doom Whisperer out. Let's do this. This makes it so if they hit another Vivian or like Vraska 6, I have 2 good targets for them to want to kill potentially. Nightveil Predator's been okay. It's a card that you're like never super excited to have, but it like gets you out of some situations that another card can. This is actually a matchup where I want an extra copy of it. Against Drakes and Carnage Giant are the 2 places where it's really good.
Everyone is expendable, except me.
That's annoying. The real question is how many Blood Operatives do I want to pick up next turn? I think it's 2, honestly. I think it's 2. Moment of Craving. That's probably fine, honestly. Grab their Vivian back with this Eldest Reborn. That's why we left it in their bin. I do need to hit this Vraska so she doesn't ult soon. Getting a Dream Eater here is pretty sweet.
Good hit. Don't let it go to your head.
Exile their creatures aggressively here, make their finds much worse. Getting more creatures into play here lets me pressure this Vraska out of the game. Also lets me protect my Vivian nicely. Their Vivian, my Vivian, someone's Vivian, this Vivian. Whoever this one belongs to, in the technical sense, protects that one. Stupid desk, please go down. I conceded the last game of the last match because I felt like with the number of cards my opponent had in their hand, I was incredibly unlikely to win the game. So rather than sit there and flounder around in a game that I'm incredibly unlikely to win, I moved on to the next one that I'm far more likely to win. I agree that I was not 0%. I concede a lot of games that I'm not 0% to win. But I felt like I was a low enough percentage to win that game that it wasn't worth continuing to play. Trade these out here since I have this to surveil in my hand especially. Contempt is great.
Come to me.
I'm gonna go Disinformation Campaign into Nightveil Predator here. Nightveil locks up their Ground Pounders pretty well here. 2/2 and a 1/3 versus my 3/3 Death Touch. Vraska can kill this, but if she does that, the Nightveil Predator is going to give her a love tap and finish her off. That seems fine for me.
He's probably going to die.
How's the new house? Wonderful. Yep. Yep. This is a pretty easy trade here. Do I Field of Ruin to shuffle this thing away? I might actually. I think I do. And then I can play Doom Whisperer out here. What's the next time I'm playing Modern? It is available actually on my schedule, but I can also tell you as well, Tuesday and Wednesday streams are going to be all Magic Online all day. So I'll probably do 1 Legacy deck on each of those days and then 4 or 5 Modern decks. So, yeah, my schedule has not only what days I'm playing, but also what formats I plan to play on those days. And the ones that say Eternal on MTGO always include some Modern, but will sometimes include Legacy. Depends on how many points things are at. We actually played the Mono Red Token Storm this evening, so it'll be up on YouTube by tomorrow. We did a Legacy deck and a Modern deck to start the night. Happy sub, baby. Thanks for the great content, Nestor. Thanks for the 9 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me employed here. If their last card in hand is a blank, they're pretty cold to this Vivian Ultimate.
Everyone is expendable, except me.
Okay, I like this line from the opponent. They're gonna force me to chump block with the Doom Whisperer here, or not ultimate the Vivian. Don't mind me, just surveil 2, draw 4. No big deal. No big. Are we done here? We're done, right?
Striking new nature brings your reckoning.
Have you played Mono Red Phoenix? I have, and I'd encourage you to check out the video archive. Always skip to the feedback section at the end, the wrap up. 5/3 indestructible trample lifelink, indeed. Fifteen lifelink indestructible vigilance, all that jazz. How you doing? We've got some keywords, chat.
Sometimes sacrifice is necessary.
They could top deck another Finality. That's true. Maybe I'm not supposed to play all 3 out. Wow, brutal. Never forget, chat. The pride cometh before the fall. Never forget. The pride cometh before the fall. Alright, so I've got 9 mana altogether. That's a Doom Whisperer plus a Vraska's Contempt. This is also indestructible. Alright, let's exile this one. I agree that we're still ahead. We're less ahead than we otherwise could be, but we're still pretty ahead. We have a Vivian emblem over here, it's hiding underneath the chat box. Uh-oh. We might be getting into Roboto range here. Yeah. Let's kick it real quick. The sponsors love Mr. Roboto. Not gonna do a full shill here. These people are great. Buy their stuff. These people also great. Buy their stuff. Alright, back to Arena. The old mini shield. I like the easy surveils. Easy surveils are great. Triggers. My sequencing here is technically inoptimal. I should have bounced with the Dream Eater when they put the Jade Light on the stack. Now they're gonna get to make it bigger. It doesn't matter. We're winning the, oh, they're sequencing incorrectly. Got it. Gruesome menagerie. Interesting. So they were attacking with these because they wanted to just draw cards with these other poopers, but now I get to eat these for free. I get to empty their hand here, right? Like, we go Disinformation Campaign. I could have even surveilled with this, but now I can surveil with this. I do have a Vivian emblem. Our Eldest Reborn took their Vivian. And then she went tick tick boom. Every time I'm like, you know what, this is the last match or game, we always end up queuing into like a really obnoxiously long match or game. Alright, Immortal Sun, extra Eldest Reborn. I actually really like Fungal Infection in a matchup like this because you can kill their Explore creatures in response to the trigger, which is pretty reasonable. Maybe Eldest Reborn actually isn't great here. They do have a lot of mediocre things to sacrifice, like discard plus get back a Planeswalker. Like, it was okay in that game, but I think it's not going to be. It's going to be bad more than it's good a lot of the time. Yeah, that's true, Death. This deck doesn't really have fast games necessarily. Another black source. I think Dream Eater's fine. I think it's just like an okay body that can pressure Planeswalkers as a surprise. It's a real shame we didn't have an untapped black source here to Fungal Infection this Land War Elves. Or this Jade Light Ranger. Stopping either of these things would have been very good for us. We'll, however, get to cast down this this Midnight Reaper, and then hopefully curve out into Ritual of Soot eventually. If they have like a Vivian this turn, I'm probably just like up a creek without a pedal. I'm gonna go ahead and Field of Rune them at end of turn. Potentially shuffling a good Explorer. Obscene Sanity with the 8-month resub. Thank you very much, I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me employed here. So we get to grab our Swamp here, which is our second black source. Hit an untapped land next turn, we get to play this Ritual of Soot, otherwise we're probably dead. Yeah, I guess I get to play Blood Operative here, and if I feed a removal spell, we could potentially still be okay. But pretty far behind at this point. Needed to sweep the board as they catch up. Happy to trade with Jade Light Ranger here if the offer presents itself. Missed again. If we would have hit the land drop for Nightveil Predator, we would have been able to trade here, which would have been fine. What am I saving Fungal for? Whatever they play after I play the Ritual of Soot. It was like clean up for their next card. I would have Fungal Infection the elf on 1, but like once it lived past 1 and like already started accelerating them, I'd rather just like clean it up with the Ritual of Soot more than anything else. Play. This seems like never gonna find a third land and die, but like, you know, welcome to Magic. Discovery and Thought Erasure also good hits, because they likely help us find the third land. I think I just go ahead and cast this down here. I want to keep my health total high, and if I can play this on an empty board, I'll be in a very good spot. Welcome to Magic. Enjoy your stay. I mean, that's a lot of Magic, honestly, right? You know? And that's why best of 3 is great, right? Because at least most of the time, you get, like, one non-game in each direction, and there's, like, one game where you both get to make choices. Alright, well, their hand doesn't do anything, so I am saying there's a chance of having inverse problems here. Yeah, it's technically wrong to cast down before they explore. That's correct. Alright. We hit a land here, and if we hit another land, we get to Ritual of Soot and clear both their explorers and like actually play a game here. Flood generally loses to Screw. So. Midnight Reaper is very good. Really need to hit the untapped land next turn. Perfect. Because now, when this dies, it only draws 1 card as opposed to drawing them 3. So an Undergrowth-oriented deck that's fairly competitive. Gabriel Nassif posted a couple articles about a green-black Undergrowth deck on Channel Fireball at one point, but I haven't played it yet on stream to know exactly how it lines up against things. I don't understand your question. Dr. Goldhead, I think it might be missing a word. So this does let them draw 2 cards here, so they're getting back in the game a little bit. This does likely mean, however, that my opponent's going to be left with a card in hand, so this Disinformation Campaign is going to get to take a card away from them, which feels good. Double creature here would be really bad for us. So do I Soot and let them draw 2 cards? I think I just Soot and let them draw 2 cards. I really don't want them to hit a Find Finality, though. I feel like we're a little bit behind at the moment. Like, it's 3 cards to 3 cards, and they have more lands. Find is very good here. It's going to pick back both of their Midnight Reapers back up. Oh, I can Field of Ruin them. Fantastic call. I always forget the shuffle on this isn't optional. So here, take a random. Good call. Is my health total high enough that I can Disinformation Campaign this turn rather than Predator? I think it is, because the next turn I get to Dream Eater, which will pick both of these back up, which is nice. Deal. Dream Eater, worth noting, I cut a Disinformation Campaign and an Eldest Reborn for Dream Eater, and this is looking much better than either of those cards would be here. Yeah, searching for runes is not optional. I'm actually going to keep this one Fungal Infection because the Fungal Infection plus, hey, Brecken. I feel like it's been a hot second. Hope you're doing well. Fungal Infection plus a block will kill the Merfolk Branchwalker. Send that one back up to... Oh, I guess I could have bounced this because Campaign's going to take it. We even talked about this too. I was thinking that I didn't want them to explore again, but I should have just done this because we're taking the card away. That was me not thinking. I still get to Fungal Infection and kill this, but there's also a chance that I probably should have left my 7th land on top of my deck there, so that way I could have gone this into this into this. So a couple of small sequencing mistakes on my part here. Almost certainly gonna lose the Immortal Sun. You know, I probably should just let that resolve. That probably doesn't matter either way. I don't understand why MTG is trying to be Hearthstone with the ranking system. Well, what you don't understand is that the current ranking system isn't a final system, and they're still trying to figure it out. So, this current ladder season doesn't have anything meaningful in terms of rewards. So, you should just take a chill pill and realize that the final iteration of the ladder is probably going to look different than what we have right now. Alright, Predator in the air. Pretty likely to close this game out. The packs and golds are meaningful to free players. I don't even think that's true. If you have even a small amount of, bankroll, your time is much better spent in terms of getting rewards, playing the events that have an entry fee and then payouts. So like you like complete your quests and like have gold to play the events. Those are a much better use of your time, right? From my understanding. Alright, well, we ended up pulling this game out. We were a little bit screwed at the beginning, but they ended up flooding. Yeah, the rank is for fun. Like, the current rank system is purely for fun. As far as blue-black goes, I really felt like this archetype kind of... Like, once we got past, like, the initial start of the format, this was something that I was, like, kind of high on to begin with, but as the format developed a little bit more, I became a little bit... I cooled on it a bit. I think I prefer Grixis Dragons as far as, like, blue-black X tends to go, and I think even Sultai Control tends to be a little bit better than this. While Dream Eater gives us a small touch to be able to interact with some problem permanents, I think, just having tools like 6 mana Vraska and Assassin's Trophy to, like, actually permanently remove something is very good. I was pretty happy with Nightveil Predator in those games, though. This card's pretty flexible. It's not amazing by any means, but it, like, does what I'm looking for this card to do, which is a resistant threat in some matchups and an answer to Carnage Tyrant in others. Alright, what are we doing next? We're gonna play some Grixis Conjecture to wrap the evening up.